and wounding several others. But, as Bernadine Dohrn said, at least they didn't kill anyone. Their most notorious bombings were March 1st, 1971, United States Capitol in protest of the U.S. invasion of Laos. May 19th, 1972, Ho Chi Minh's birthday. The Pentagon in retaliation for the bombing raid in Hanoi. January 29, 1975, the bombing of the United States Department of State building in response to escalation in Vietnam. If there is a turning point in any of these people, I have never heard it, nor can my staff find it. And now, they're not just roaming around our society freely. They're not washing cars. They have flipped places. The man is now the activists, and the activists are now the man. I want you to see this. I've said this to you several times before. Here we had these guys. We lost the magnet. Imagine these people here. And here's what happened. These people were the activists down here. They were the radicals. They were the radicals. And they were trying to get rid of the man, which include the pigs and the army, which were baby killers, remember? Well, now the man is Barack Obama. And these guys are also the man. But the family are here. See, these guys used to believe, our magnets aren't working well. These guys used to be down here. You, the average family of the 1950s and 60s, they called those people fascists. But now, no. The fascists, the racists, and the terrorists are the Tea Party goers. They have switched places because these guys were convinced. They were convinced later. They were convinced that maybe violence wasn't the answer. They had to go with their other SDS members, their other friends that later started Acorn. Now, Jeff Jones. Where is Jeff Jones now? Jeff Jones now has his own consulting firm that helps progressives achieve their goals. He's on the board of a movement for democratic society that works closely with SDS. Yes, SDS is still there. It is now growing the new Weathermen and Weather Underground, now available possibly in your child's high school. He's also a member of the Apollo Alliance. Remember them? They had the funding from Tides, and they helped write the stimulus package. Sure, unconstitutional, but Jeff Jones now decides, or helps the state of New York decide, where your tax money goes from the stimulus. Bill Ayers hadn't done enough, really. In 1997, he won the Citizen of the Year Award for his work on the Chicago Annenberg Challenge project. He's a professor at the University of Chicago. He served on the board with President Obama at the Woods Foundation. They were neighbors, and Obama attended a campaign event at this man's house. He's now a respected and influential member of society. And his lovely and talented wife, Bernadine Dohrn, married to Bill Ayers. She's now an associate professor of law at Northwest University School of Law and was director of Northwestern's Children and Family Justice Center. She's teaching kids. Isn't that great? Dohrn and Ayers played a key role in organizing something that's been in the news recently, the Free Gaza movement. You know, the one that launched the flotilla whose crew attacked Israeli soldiers who boarded, and then they stabbed them violently and threw one over the deck. By the way, they have 2 adult children and have legal guardianship of Chessa Bowden, son of Kathy Bowden and David Gilbert. Here's Kathy, the one behind the fence here with the police officer, and Gilbert. They were also former Weather Underground members. Kathy was convicted in 1984 of felony murder for participation in armed robbery that resulted in the killing of the 3 people. She later became a public health expert while in prison. She was released from prison in 2003. David Gilbert is still in prison, serving 75 years to life. And speaking of prison, let's talk about Linda Sue Evans. Here she is. She's great. She's a Weather Underground member as well. She was sentenced to 40 years in the 1981 cop killing I mentioned earlier. In 1991, she was convicted of other violent acts. Her sentence was commuted in 2001 by Bill Clinton. Today, she's out there campaigning for inmate rights as an organizer for All of Us or None, a group that combats the many forms of discrimination that felons, prisoners, and former prisoners as a result of felony convictions. She's pushing for felon voting rights. And in fact, in 2008, she spoke at a very nice event, the Soros Justice Fellowships meeting. She was on a panel for prison reform alongside the executive director of the Ella Baker Center, which is weird because that brings in Van Jones. That's his organization that he co-founded with the daughter of two other Weather Underground members. And it was Van Jones who said, quote, "I am willing to forego the cheap satisfaction of the radical pose for the deep satisfaction of the radical ends." In other words, keep it undercover. I'll be somebody else to be able to achieve my means. Evans also received the Soros Justice Fellowship Award in 2001. It was awarded to outstanding individuals who will implement innovative projects to reform the United States criminal justice system. George Soros. Where have I heard that name before? Anyway, there's also Mark Rudd. He's the guy with the flower here. Flower power, man. He's another Weather Underground member who is a long-time junior college teacher in New Mexico. So what do we have? We have education. We have education with these two. And here, too, we have Jeff Jones, who's writing the stimulus bill with Robert Creamer, according to Axelrod. They wrote the blueprint for health care while in prison. They've dropped the radical pose for the radical ends. These violent radicals have been washed, shined up, and put back on the shelf as normal members of society so they can be here and be the man and help govern all of us who just don't get it, man. Now, I told you before, the most dangerous man in America is Cass Sunstein. Cass Sunstein. You know what he says about Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn? He says, quote, "I feel very comfortable with their past, but neither of them is thought of as horrible types now. So far as most of us know, they are legitimate members of the community." So far as most of us know. Really? Who talks like that? So far as most of us know. The media is not asking the question, do these people still hate America and want to destroy it? The whole dictator thing, I call that a crazy theory, but have you noticed the trends that we're headed towards? The president told Netroots the change hasn't come quickly enough for him and his supporters.
I'm confident that America is once again moving forward. Still, change hasn't come fast enough for too many Americans.
Okay.
I know that. It hasn't come fast enough for me either.
What more is there to be done? Have we not given everything he has asked for? Save us, save us. We have to save us. Healthcare, done. Stimulus, done. Financial reform, done. He said he didn't want single payer, so what are we working on healthcare for now? After financial reform, the government controls 70% of the economy. How much more control do they want? Plus, phase 2 of the Weather Underground is to install a dictator. Now, I know that's heavy, man, to use the 1960s lingo, but is it possible? Step 1 is grab control of the economy, grab control of the imperialistic system. And then step 2 is to install a dictator. Well, it's easy for you to decide because, like I said at the very top of the show, you have to go by their actions. You have to go by their actions. And I want you to ask yourself this question. Which do their actions, which one does it parallel? I think this is the average American. We understand America as being individual liberty, personal responsibility, a free market, and freedom to succeed or fail. You fail, you're on your own, Jack. But their actions seem to be, to me, redistribution of wealth, globalism, big government, Marxism, class and race warfare. You're going to have to decide. We'll show you some more of this plan and lay it out for the rest of the week. You need to see the plan and how it all comes together. And then use your common sense. Use your common sense, and you decide. More next.